Okay, picture this. You get a text from a friend, and it just says K with a period. It's literally one letter and one tiny punctuation mark, but instantly your brain sounds a five-alarm fire. Or, maybe you're sitting in the kitchen and your partner puts down their coffee mug just a fraction of a second too hard. To literally anyone else in the room, it's just ceramic hitting wood, but to you, it's a declaration of war. Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to dive right into something deeply personal. We're talking about a psychological phenomenon that is so deeply ingrained in certain people that they often mistake it for a personal flaw. If you've ever felt like you're somehow just, operating on a totally different frequency than everyone else, constantly picking up on signals that others seem completely oblivious to, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're decoding the silent language of intuition. We're going to look at the actual science behind why some of us don't just exist in the world, but relentlessly analyze it. By the end of this, you might just look at your own mind in a completely different, much more empowering light.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever walked into a room and just instantly sensed a lie? Or maybe you stepped into an office and physically felt the lingering, heavy tension of an argument before a single person even opened their mouth. The air just feels thick, you know what I mean? Someone smiles at you, but it doesn't quite reach their eyes, or they laugh, but it sounds completely hollow. If you are nodding your head right now, I really want you to know that you are not alone. So many people who experience this notice hidden motives way before anyone else does. And the real tragedy? They often internalize it. They ask themselves, am I just being paranoid? Am I overthinking literally everything? It can be incredibly isolating to sense a reality that nobody else is acknowledging. It's kind of like watching a movie where everyone else only hears the dialogue, but you're the only one hearing the ominous background music. But I am here to tell you, the research backs this up. You are absolutely not paranoid. There's actually a scientific name for exactly what you've been experiencing. It's a recognized cognitive trait called high interpersonal sensitivity. Let's really break that down for a second. It is a rare psychological trait characterized by extreme emotional attunement and the ability to read unspoken cues. So you aren't just guessing, your brain is actively gathering and processing data that others simply aren't even registering. When you thought you were dealing with, a character flaw or an overly dramatic imagination, you were actually utilizing a highly specialized cognitive function. It's a scientifically acknowledged way that certain human brains interact with their environment. Think of it like having a satellite dish strapped to your head that is permanently tuned to a frequency most people can't even access. Your brain is quite literally wired to catch the absolute subtleties of human emotion, and then it translates them into those powerful gut feelings.
Okay, so what does this actually look like in everyday life? Well, people with high interpersonal sensitivity are essentially fluent in a hidden language. You're constantly picking up on micro-behaviors. Imagine you're pitching an idea in a meeting. Your boss says, "Yeah, that sounds great," but as they say it, their shoulders tense up ever so slightly and their left foot starts doing this nervous little tap under the table. You spot it instantly. You're also detecting tone, hesitations. Picture asking a friend if they're okay with a change of plans. They say, "Yeah, sure," but there's this microscopic, split-second pause right before the "yeah," and the pitch of their voice drops just half an octave. To the average listener, that's agreement. To you, total red flag. They are secretly annoyed. And honestly, the most profound part is that you are reading the words people don't say. Your emotional attunement is so high, you are effectively reading the spaces between the words, picking up on the heavy silence and decoding the unspoken truth.
The source material for this explainer draws a really fascinating contrast here, and it perfectly explains why your brain does this. It's all about how you process information. Think of average processing like playing a simple game of checkers. It's thinking in lines. It's linear, straightforward, taking things exactly at face value. Move piece A to B. But your brain? Your brain is a deep processor. You're not playing checkers, you're playing 3D chess. You don't think in lines, you think in layers. When someone speaks to you, you aren't just hearing their words. Simultaneously, you are analyzing their tone, matching it against their body language, cross-referencing it with their past behavior, and calculating their underlying motives. Actually, it's like a giant puzzle constantly assembling itself in your head. Because you process this deeply, you naturally see patterns and connections that most people completely miss.
Now let's be totally real for a second. Living with a deep processing brain is a massive double-edged sword. The cost is high, and it can be downright exhausting. Why? Because your mind absolutely never stops analyzing and decoding the world around you. There's no off switch. When you go to the grocery store or a party, you are constantly absorbing the emotional weight of the room. It drains your battery at a terrifying speed. But wait, here is the incredible advantage. This exact same trait provides you with profound cognitive control under stress. Because you are always observing, always analyzing, you actually stay calm and incredibly logical when everyone else is panicking. While everyone else is reacting emotionally to a sudden crisis, you've already processed the variables, mapped out the situation, and are literally figuring out the solution. You've been unconsciously running simulations all day based on micro cues. It's a huge strategic advantage.
If you take absolutely nothing else away from our time today, please remember this quote. If your mind is wired for more depth and truth than the average person can handle, you aren't strange, you're rare. I really want you to let that sink in. For years, you might have told yourself to toughen up, or stop being so sensitive, or to just let things go. But you aren't just passively floating through life. You are actively analyzing it in real time with a level of empathy that most people simply don't have. Your ability to see the depth, to uncover those hidden truths, is not a burden. It's a rare, powerful capability. You possess a built-in radar for authenticity, and let's face it, in a world that so often operates on surface-level fake interactions, that radar is an absolute superpower. Which brings us to a final thought, and a bit of a challenge I want to leave you with. How will you use your intuition as a truth-seeking tool today, without letting cynicism win? Because let's be honest, it is so incredibly easy to become hardened when you constantly see the passive aggression and the unspoken lies of everyday life. It's easy to get cynical when you see the messy gears turning behind the curtain. But the true mastery of high interpersonal sensitivity is wielding it constructively. It's about using your deep processing to foster genuine connection and seeking the truth with empathy rather than judgment. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found this insightful and want to keep decoding the hidden frequency of the human mind together, be sure to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.